During the standouts just over a week ago, we heard from the family of Molly Bish. They told us an all too familiar story about an incompetent investigation, ranging from failing to secure the crime scene through to destruction of evidence, and of course lack of transparency. Things we are all too familiar with when it comes to the New England area. This is the story behind Molly Bish's disappearance and murder.
Molly vanished just minutes into her lifeguard shift at Cummins Pond. 3 years later, her remains were discovered in the woods a few miles away.
All these people tried to do what they could, but there was not a plan. The police didn't really know what to do. The fire department came in thinking, well, she must have drowned.
There have been many persons of interest, including convicted murderer Rodney Stanger and a man who was staying at a nearby campground who owned a white car similar to the one driven by the suspicious man spotted at the pond by Molly's mom, Maggie, the day before she disappeared.
Well, we had heard from a local hunter, and an off-duty police officer actually had found the bathing suit, and when the police went to find it, they had to send it in for DNA. We really didn't know. So once they sent that in and it was completed, again, it was just waiting. I'll never forget it. We were right here, and I knew it was Molly's. They didn't have to do DNA. I knew it because I bought it. I went with her to get it. And then that's when they organized a search team. They told us they found her skull. And the next day they had some rib bones, and they only found 26 bones. Molly came in pieces. We didn't bury Molly to her 20th birthday, and we got through it. We had a lady that came by and she offered to do a butterfly release. All of a sudden they were flying everywhere, and it was like Molly saying, okay, it's okay, Mom, and this joy. And it was like a perfect ending to a very sad time.
I can't imagine it happening to anybody else. And if it did, I guess in some way I would feel responsible that I didn't do everything that I could to prevent it.
What happened to her 16-year-old sister Molly, and who's responsible for her murder, are questions that haunt Heather Bish and her family every day.
I do believe it was someone from the area, and that's again why I think this video is so important, that we keep sharing and we keep talking about this story, we keep talking about what happened to Molly, because somebody knows something. My hope, of course, is for justice, so that we're all safe.
This bag holds the bathing suit Molly was wearing the day she disappeared from her lifeguard shift at Cummins Pond in Warren on June 27, 2000. There are evidence samples cut for DNA testing, her knapsack that was left sitting by her chair that day, and more.
Some soil samples and a hair elastic.
The Bish family has been praying for justice for 24 years.
The crime scene was destroyed.
The crime scene was never secured because at first police thought Molly may have drowned. Molly's remains were found a few miles down the road from the pond in the woods of Palmer 3 years after she was murdered.
Molly's presence is missed every single day. I don't look at the world the same way. My sister was taken by somebody, and I've learned that there are many dangerous people out there.
The hunt for the killer led investigators to convicted rapist Frank Sumner, who died in 2016. He operated auto body shops in the area and looks like the man Molly's mom spotted sitting in a white car the day before she disappeared.
We're going to do everything we can to make sure that this case gets closed.
Worcester County District Attorney Joe Early says Sumner had access to a white car. He was officially named a suspect in 2021, but DNA tested from evidence so far hasn't linked him to the crime.
Do you believe he is still the person who killed Molly Bish?
There's a lot of evidence that leads to Frank Sumner, yes. That's why we at first named him a person of interest and later a suspect.
I'm frustrated that we haven't made any progress on the recent person of interest that was named in 2021.
Surveillance video from a local convenience store captured the last images of Molly moments before she went to the pond on that fateful day. The Bish family and investigators are hoping advances in science and the evidence here will finally lead them to Molly's killer.
Molly's sister, Heather Bish, has expressed her frustration over how the case has been handled within the Worcester DA's office. Her remarks coming following an announcement from the Worcester District Attorney's Office on Tuesday that more DNA testing is currently underway. Heather expressed concerns over how that DNA testing is completed, noting that the minimal DNA obtained from her sister's initial crime scene can potentially be destroyed once it's been tested. She also tells 22 News she wants more transparency.
Worcester County has not been able to do it in 23 years. I would just like the opportunity to give Hampden County a chance under DA Gallooni, because I do see him making progress in a lot of unresolved cases, and he does use unique ways, not just with technology or DNA, but with several different avenues.
DNA testing results deliver disappointing news to the family that has been waiting decades for answers and justice.
Not a match. 3 words casting doubt on the efforts to find the killer of Molly Bish.
It's disappointing. We keep hoping we're going to find this bad guy, and it's scary to think this isn't the guy. Like, who is it then?
It's a blow to Molly's sister, Heather Bish, who hoped a DNA sample from the son of potential suspect Francis Sumner Sr. would bring long-awaited answers. Instead, she fears more system failures.
Molly's case is in this position right now because police didn't respond to a missing child. They did not know how to respond. They did not preserve the crime scene. There were errors after errors after errors. It's frustrating because with the other persons of interest, we had much more circumstantial information, and that helped us garner more information.
Despite the recent test results, she says authorities remain focused on Sumner, though the family doesn't know why.
It's frustrating for my family and I that we aren't told exactly what tests are being done. I mean, we can't ask more specific questions based on our knowledge. That doesn't seem to me like that would be something that would hurt the investigation.
Even after more than 2 decades, Heather clings to hope that emerging technology will one day close in on her sister's killer.
I might be sitting in my rocking chair, 85 years old, and get a phone call one day that they were able to figure this out. I'm certain that at some point we'll have the answers. It's just really hard to wait for them. That the audience is here now and they're seeing this in live time, and I think it's really exposing the issues that we have in the Massachusetts State Police. In my case, Molly's crime scene was not preserved from the beginning. When she was found in 2003, it took quite some time for the state police to get there, enough time for the person who found her bathing suit to take pieces of that bathing suit and put them in his pocket, which was later revealed on 48 hours. So again, there was issues, and my concern with my sister's case is predominantly with the evidence protection and the DNA analysis that can be done on that evidence. Every time I've spoken to the state police about it, I get stonewalled. They will never tell me what kind of testing is being done or where it is being done. In fact, in 2013, we were awaiting testing, and it wasn't coming back, and it was taking a long time. And when they finally called me and told me, they said, "Oh, we're not going to talk to you about DNA anymore, Heather." And there was no clear answer to that besides the fact that something had occurred between the detectives and the lab, and they either lost it or they didn't do what they were supposed to do. But the victim's family was the one who paid the price for that. So my heart goes out to the O'Keefe family. I know what it's like to not get justice and to feel like your investigation wasn't done in the manner that you expected it to be done by these esteemed professionals. I sit on the Mass Office of Victim Assistance Board, and in that seat, I want to thank again David Yannetti and Alan Jackson for all families and victims' families from across Massachusetts for exposing this. you are helping us in ways that we couldn't have expected or known. So thank you.